Welcome to the Beat LA podcast. My name is Matt Ferrucci. I'm a writer, director in Los Angeles, and I am joined, as always, by a Paul that only fights men his age, Mr. Paul Rule. Paul, how you doing?
I'm playing a little hurt today, Matt.
Yeah, but it's not because you're hungover.
It's not because I'm hungover. It's
Okay.
not because I was in a boxing ring with one of the, what's his, Jake Paul?
Jake Paul.
I was thinking of flipping my name.
Yeah.
Because I could go Rule Paul, and then I could be a Paul brother. And then I could also be RuPaul.
RuPaul.
Sashay away.
I have a new pet peeve, Matt.
Yeah.
Hey, FedEx, don't put a fucking super heavy box in front of my gate so I actually can't get out of my house.
What was in this box?
It might have been like a chandelier that we bought in Santa Margherita, Italy.
Okay.
But it's very fucking heavy.
Yeah.
And they put it in front of the gate.
Yeah.
And it literally, if there had been a fire, we would have died.
Yeah.
So I had to go all the way around, and then I lifted it up and brought it into the house because I was running late for the podcast, and I fucked up my neck.
Yeah, you know, hey folks, we're recording the podcast here. When I was driving here, I was actually a little late for the first time. I felt like I was on Paul time.
Right.
And I was like, I'm going to fucking diva this shit. I'm showing up late to the pod today. I'm going to cruise in and sit down. And you still trumped me. And, you know, unfortunately because of injury.
I had a reason. Anyway, I probably feel kind of like Mike Tyson feels.
Yeah. Well, you know, you got coffee. I'm drinking bone broth.
I wanted to ask what was in that.
Bone broth. This was a recommendation by a special lady friend.
Okay.
And she's like, you know, bone broth, also like starting off the day with like lime juice, water with lime.
Right. I do that a lot. I do like hot
Bone
water
broth.
and lemon, maybe a little cayenne.
And then do that before you have your coffee because you want to coat the stomach.
Interesting.
I don't know. We're in LA, you know?
Good. It sounds delicious.
Things happen in LA.
We called that beef bouillon back in the day, man.
Back then, remember that? You used to drop a bouillon cube for seasoning for stuff? Yeah.
You know what a bullshot is, Matt?
Hey, Sabu, can you make a bullshot?
Can you make a shoe smell?
Very funny. All right. Why don't you get yourself a real haircut?
A bullshot is basically, I think it's vodka. It's basically a Bloody Mary with beef bouillon.
Ooh.
That's what a bullshot is.
Girl.
Kingsley Amos, it was one of his hangover curatives.
Delicious.
Yeah.
I think we need to get you one of those.
That would help my neck.
I woke up, I was thinking about the pod last night.
Okay.
And I had trouble falling asleep. And I started thinking, and this is just Tangent City here, brought to you by Pet Pro Supply Co. I started thinking about my financial portfolio.
Okay.
Paul. I don't know why I'm thinking about this. And it felt like I have some sort of blue collar Bernie Madoff Ponzi scheme. And I couldn't sleep for like half an hour just thinking about finances.
Do you feel better or worse about your
Yeah.
finances?
And then I just said, fuck it, shut up. You can't do anything about it. And then I fell asleep.
Okay.
But that's where I'm at.
All right, well, it's probably because you didn't want to think about the 49er game.
True. Yeah, that was our weekend. We're going to get into our weekend. Before we get there, our producer of our show, Big Dick Nick Conrad, not to get confused with Nick Foles, he went to a wedding this weekend in Sausalito.
Ooh. Back in our part of the world, man.
Shout out to the Petri Farm Cookie. Remember the Sausalitos?
Is that from? I don't know.
Yeah. Nick, how did it go this weekend? Went well.
Very well.
Yeah. Did we close anything?
Fortunately, no.
Okay, we're going to talk off pod about that. Okay. Yeah, he didn't close. We wanted a story. He didn't close.
She's not just another notch on the old belt.
Don't even wear a belt. Beltless.
I don't know. When I was single, I feel like it was hard to meet single girls at weddings. They
It's a great
tended not
topic.
to come by themselves, right?
So
to speak.
I don't know about you. I had a streak in my early 30s
Yeah.
where weddings was the only place I could close.
You play the motorboat? You motorboating son of a bitch. You old sailor, you.
I miss going to weddings now. We talked about this like in episode 22.
Hey, I did what I could, Matt. I had as many weddings as I could have.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah,
You did.
so-
And you had a theory. That's why Al Pacino and Robert De Niro keep marrying or dating younger women. Is so
Yeah,
they continue.
Belichick wants to go to his 24-year-old mermaid's friends' weddings.
Yeah, got it.
He's
Interesting.
got nothing else to do this year. He's not coaching.
Hey, welcome to the BLA podcast. You can watch this podcast and look at Paul's injury. He's battling through. It's like when George Kittle said he could have played if it was a playoff game. Paul's playing right now because our pod is a playoff game. You can watch us on YouTube. Follow, subscribe. You can rate and review the podcast on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Also, please follow us on Instagram and TikTok. If you don't have time for the podcast and you just want to get little 1-minute appetizers, the best place to do it is Instagram, TikTok, and you can find us there.
YouTube. We have reels on YouTube, Matt.
YouTube is great, man. You
Look at me paying attention.
You're a star on YouTube.
It's
I
true.
feel a little bad about that, but my ego will get over it. So, Paul, let's get into it. The story of the weekend. Everybody was texting each other and watching this Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight. We're recording this on Monday, folks. But that happened this weekend. Let's just get into like kind of reactions. I know you were hyped for it. Your wife was hyped for it.
Kristen never watched sporting events. Somehow or another, this tickled her fancy or something. And I don't think it's because the guy's name was Paul. And it had me thinking about it. By the way, Paul, you know, that like if I did flip my name, there are a lot of Pauls. There's Tommy Paul.
Sure.
There's Les Paul who makes the guitar.
Rand Paul?
Rand Paul and Ron Paul.
Ron Paul, okay.
See?
Continue.
So Kristen actually had a personal connection to the fight.
Yes.
So Brian Ofria, my father-in-law, and his lovely girlfriend Alexander. Alexander is the mother of Alex Monopoly, who does the Monopoly guy, like the paintings with rich Uncle Pennybags in it.
Yeah.
So he's been a very famous, well-known, and well-compensated artist.
Okay.
And he made Jake Paul's shorts.
Wow.
So remember they talked about like the $1 million,
They were like $1 million
bejeweled
shorts
that had rich Uncle Pennybags on the side.
Yeah.
So we had a personal connection to Jake Paul's shorts, so to speak. And so Kristen watched because she likes the fashion more than she likes the sports.
So your connection, you don't know the person personally that made the shorts.
I've met him.
You've met him.
Yeah, because I'm nothing if not a name dropper, particularly when I'm in a
Does
lot of neck
this
pain.
make the Paul family camp, or at least the camp with your wife and the in-laws, Jake Paul fans?
That's a good question. Yeah, I think Jake Paul lives next to this guy in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
They both have Puerto Rico homes.
I just want to like upfront apologize right now to your in-laws and their family, because I'm going to say some I'm going to go after Jake Paul here.
Which you should. By the way, what I say to you after the thing, I felt so dirty after watching that thing. It was like decline of Western civilization.
I wrote here in my notes, Jake Paul put the nail in the coffin of boxing on Friday night or Saturday.
Just awful. Yeah. Mike Tyson, I guess, almost died like 6 months ago from some liver kidney thing or something.
He had like 25 blood transfusions.
Yeah, he fought like a guy who almost died.
Yeah.
6 months ago.
Speaking of Mike Tyson, I should everyone here just preview the episode. We're going to get into obviously this Jake Paul stuff and some other stuff, but later in the show,
right here we go, teaser.
We are going to interview Beat LA therapist. We've talked about him a lot. Nick Mouyiaris. It's an interview we did about a week ago before the fight.
I wish you were a physical therapist.
Oh my God, I wish. He's a mental therapist. But,
I need that now too.
Mental affects the physical.
It does.
But we're going to have him on. He's just a great guy. I've known him for 20 years. He was an actor. He was my creative partner. We've written a lot of stuff together. He was a companion in the show I produced called Companion, and he's got some great stories. He now lives in New York, and he's a baller. He's trying to do like the Master of the Universe thing.
We pre-taped this thing, Matt.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if I was supposed to wear the same shirt to try to make it look like that we taped it the same day.
Yeah.
So I did. You wore a different shirt.
But I knew I wore a green T-shirt underneath.
Yeah, I think you wore a sport coat, if I remember.
I did, but I'm not trying to fool our audience, because our audience is smart.
It's too smart. They're going to figure that out.
Anyway, Beat LA therapist Nick Mouyiaris is on. We're going to talk about just a lot of fun stuff about the psychology of sports. And I think a lot of our listeners need to listen to this about how fandom can get away from them, how to be healthy. And, it affects your families, your friends, your life, especially after the 49ers lost. So just listen to Nick. It's a great interview. And he has some Mike Tyson stories.
I was going to say the timeliness of that, right?
Yeah.
So if you're still kind of marinating in the fucking shit show that was that fight, and you should stick around for the interview because you'll learn a few things about Mike Tyson.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Paul, what I was thinking when I was watching this fight, first off, is I think why we all wanted it to go so well and why we were all rooting for Mike was because we remember what it was like growing up. Pay-per-view fights.
Oh, yeah, they're great.
Oscar
Fight night, baby.
Yeah, Oscar De La Hoya versus Trinidad, if you want to go back 20 years. But even before that, and this is what made me feel old. I remember when I was in grammar school, we had a baseball game, and me and my dad wanted to rush home because he had bought the Michael Spinks versus Mike Tyson fight.
I remember that.
I was in grade school. Why the hell did I think this guy was going to win? That was 30 years ago.
You had money on Buster Douglas.
Yeah, I did. I remember when he did that in Tokyo.
Right.
Okay, so I want to just break it down. So first, Jake Paul comes out first.
Right.
He's trolling Mike Tyson with the song from The Hangover.
But I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. One more time, guys. Oh, Lord. Oh, shit.
He's got the Phil Collins thing going. He's coming out in a toy Tonka truck.
I saw it, yeah.
With his brother. And I was like, stand the fuck up. What are you doing? He's just sitting there taking a ride on like a train, like a fucking 5-year-old at Disneyland. I mean, haven't you seen, remember in Rocky 1, when Apollo Creed comes into the ring as George Washington on the boat on the Potomac? Get up, get the fans into it.
World champion, Apollo Creed is doing an imitation of George Washington.
I just thought it was the most ridiculous entrance.
I don't know why he did it. Why he did that?
Okay.
Maybe he was resting.
And then he enters the ring. And then, I'm sorry to the in-laws here, but he took off his top, and I saw the shorts, and I thought he looked like Mork from Mork and Mindy.
Interesting.
And then the second thought that popped in my head was douchebag Liberace.
Douchebag Liberace.
Yeah. The Tyson entrance. When Tyson started coming down the ring, what did you think?
Behind the candelabra, not to be confused with behind the fucking chandelier.
Yes.
Fucking broke my neck.
Yeah, behind the candelabra.
Have you seen that movie? That's
Yeah, Matt Damon,
Yeah,
Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
What did I think? I thought it was a travesty. It was, I did watch it, and joke's on me, but it was this horrible combination of what the world has become, right?
Yeah.
Influencers, untalented people actually getting paid to do dumb shit, and real boxing doesn't even exist anymore. And then he fought against a 58-year-old guy who basically had almost died. So I was thinking, like, maybe what's the sequel? Rocky, there's Rocky 2, Rocky 3, Rocky 4. Is there going to, it's not going to be Tyson. Tyson said he's not going to fight again, but I don't think that we're going to be hoodwinked again. So who can Jake Paul get in the next one?
Okay, so here's the segment here. This is brought to you by Hayo. This is the who should Jake Paul fight next? I got some names, and let's bat it back and forth, a little tennis. Okay, first off, it's been on the internet, Joe Biden.
Joe Biden wouldn't even feel it, probably.
I think Joe Biden might do better than Tyson. He's a little scrappy.
Maybe.
You put a little of that speed in him before he does like the
Joe
State of the Union.
From Scranton?
Yeah.
Scrappy.
Okay, give me a name.
Clint Eastwood.
That would be a great
He just
fight.
made a movie at 94, Juror Number 2.
Yeah, what was that movie, Nick, where Clint Eastwood was the curmudgeon? He's always a curmudgeon. But,
Gran Torino, whatever.
Gran Torino.
Yeah.
Gran Torino, Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
Jake Paul came out, and he wants to fight Conor McGregor.
Okay.
He shouted out, he's like, let's go, Conor, let's do this.
Conor McGregor kicked the shit out of him, wouldn't he?
Well, Conor McGregor, I think, basically responded like, you're a douchebag, you're not a real fighter, why don't you go fight Mitch McConnell? That's what he said on Twitter.
Mitch McConnell.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to throw another one out. If he was still alive, and I'm sorry to go to the dead thing, if he's still alive, I think Jake Paul should fight Stephen Hawking next.
Jeez.
Fucking Christ.
Well, that way, by the way, he could stay in the Tonka truck because he wouldn't have to stand up.
Yeah.
They'd both be sitting down.
You got another name for me?
I don't know. I got so thrown by Stephen Hawking. I don't even know where to take it.
I got a few other ones. Can I throw them at you?
Keep going, man.
Okay, ready? Here's my list, Nick, and you're going to enjoy this. Ready? Morgan Freeman.
Okay.
Listen, Jake Paul. Bill Gates.
Okay.
Prince Harry.
Oh, that's a good one.
That would be a good one, right?
I think he's got a deal at Netflix too, right?
Yeah. He's retired. Yeah. Gene Hackman comes out of retirement.
Gene Hackman?
That'd be fucking great. You said Clint Eastwood, which made me think of Buzz Aldrin.
Buzz Aldrin.
You're going to love this one.
Okay.
He should fight, once they get paroled, one of the Menendez brothers.
See, that's a great one. Or he should go do it in jail. Do like the Johnny Cash Folsom Prison album that he actually goes fights one of the Menendez brothers in jail.
I love this.
It's a great idea, right?
Now, you're friends with them.
I absolutely can make this happen.
Who has a better chance, Lyle or?
Eric. Eric would get his ass kicked. Lyle is the alpha.
Yeah.
Lyle doesn't have to worry about his toupee falling off anymore.
Right. Okay. I got to know because I love your takes here. Okay. Magic Johnson. Terry Bradshaw. Okay. And I got two more.
Are any of these guys fighters?
Two more. But this is just Jake Paul's MO.
Okay.
Billie Jean King.
That's a good one. I was wondering about that. Like the boxing match before it was a women's match. Yeah. And apparently because so many eyeballs were on this, it was the top viewed female boxing match and maybe female sporting event in ever in the United States.
Yeah.
So I'm like, maybe are we at a place now where guys and girls can hit each other?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, sure.
Right? It seems like, in the boxing ring, not at a bar, not like Nick when Nick's on a date, like that kind of thing, but like at a bar. and so I don't know. So I was watching the game yesterday. I'm like, maybe Pam Oliver. She was a sideline reporter.
Fucking hilarious.
Right?
Hey, Chris Merrill, BLA legal analyst. Paul just said he wants Jake Paul to fight Pam Oliver next.
Pam Oliver would win.
Pam Oliver would totally fucking win because she's pissed.
She's 63. She's right in the age range that Jake Paul likes to fight.
She talks shit.
I think he should fight Sylvester Stallone, and it should be Rocky 17.
Oh my God, Paul. He fights Sly?
Yeah.
That would be fucking amazing.
Right.
Last one I wanted to say was Serena Williams would be a good one. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That would be a good one.
too.
Hey, Paul, you brought something up earlier about like who the hell is Jake Paul and he's fighting and like the death of like social society and stuff. Here's the one thing I want to say before we put this to bed was when they introduced him, remember how great fight nicknames used to be on the introductions? The guy who was doing it said, content creator Jake Paul. And it just reminded me of Rocky IV. I mean, remember Apollo Creed? Leroy Neiman was the ring announcer. I mean, the Dancing Destroyer, the Master of Disaster, the King of Sting, and the Count of Monte Fisto.
The Dancing Destroyer, the King of Sting, the Count of Monte Fisto.
Those were Apollo Creed's nicknames, not to get confused with the Count of Negdom over here.
Count of Negdom.
And he was the content creator.
Well,
the content
hey, that's
creator.
right. We had a content creator on the podcast last week, so see, it's right on message. I missed Michael Buffer. Remember Michael Buffer?
Fuck yeah.
I met Michael Buffer. I worked with Michael Buffer.
Did you?
I've told you the story when I was Joe Frazier's.
That's right.
Bagman. Yeah. So and Michael Buffer was at that same event.
Well, speaking of Michael Buffer, listening to the commentary made me miss Jim Lampley and Larry Merchant. Like Rosie O'Donnell, who I love, was one of the color people in the booth.
That was rough.
And lastly, just an ode to Paul's favorite movie of all time. We all felt, and this has been going around the internet, and you know, I don't want to say we thought of it before the internet did, but that fight was like Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd in Trading Places, selling us, trying to corner the frozen, concentrated orange juice market.
Happy New Year!
And we all were suckers for it.
Were we the Dukes?
It's incredible. And then Netflix couldn't even figure out the technology behind it. It was like buffering and shit. So we'll see what happens Christmas Day when they actually have live football.
Well, speaking of the death of boxing, let's stay on theme. And let's, Nick, cut to the Undertaker music. The death of the San Francisco 49ers. Did we watch The Nail in the Coffin? Is the white flag raised? Or is there any hope? Talk to me, Paul. Talk to me.
So I think it's great that we have Nick Mouyiaris, the therapist, coming up next, because again, the idea, the psychology of the sports fan. I did not break my remote yesterday. I was with you and Aaron White again, thinking we might have the mojo. Yeah. We did not, because this team is mojo proof. And I'm now in the 5 stages of grief. I'm in acceptance.
I love this.
I believe strongly that the season is over.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with it. I'm going to focus on the Warriors.
Yeah.
I'm going to focus on being a good husband, maybe cleaning out some stuff around the house that Kristen's been wanting me to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to be a better man and spend less time watching football.
Hey, Paul, if I can help you in that endeavor, I would like to help that, because guess what? That would help me too.
Right?
So, to show up for somebody else can actually help me show up for myself.
What do you think's happened to this team, Matt?
First off, you mentioned Aaron White, and I just want to shout out all the internet doctors out there. Right. Aaron always kind of hits me up like I just kind of blow through him when he talks about McCaffrey's Achilles. So shout out to the internet doctors, Aaron White. I don't know, Paul. I read a stat yesterday. Here's a stat I read that's fucking crazy. The 49ers are dead last, number 32 in the league, in separation at time of catch.
Wow.
Last year we were 13.
Right.
Everyone seems covered. I don't know what to think about these 49ers. I mean, penalties. The big thing is Kyle lost his fastball. I mean, we were talking about this in week 2. Kyle and the way he's running his offense, we've been joking about him and his side piece. Maybe he's got some domestic issues. He's dating a lot of women. But, he feels like he's lost his fastball. There was a former quarterback for the 49ers who was in camp, Ken Benkert, and he was talking about how
I don't even know what that is.
The 49ers, they don't address their protections. So they always throw things hot. There's just a lot of stuff where Kyle is just so set in his ways. He's lost his fastball.
So I have a couple thoughts on this. I agree with that. So again, we have this is the self-help episode finally.
Yeah,
we joked about
yeah.
it. I think Kyle, so you know what crashing out is?
Tell me, Paul.
So crashing out apparently is the opposite of what you think it is. Crashing out in the dictionary basically means you crash out, you're tired, you take a nap.
Yeah.
But in apparently in the TikTok world, crashing out is losing your shit. It basically you snap. And you could argue that I crashed out on the way here after I fucking carried that fucking thing up the hill. But I think after he lost Super Bowl last year, he crashed out.
Interesting.
think about this. They talk about a Super
Like
Bowl.
a mental break?
Mental break.
Yeah.
So they talk about a Super Bowl hangover, right? If you actually look at the stats, I looked this up. They're actually last decade, the only team that had a legitimate Super Bowl hangover was the Niners in 2020. Every other team finished over 500 and made the playoffs after they lost in the Super Bowl.
Right.
Even the Eagles, who were kind of lousy last year, were not that bad. Yeah. But the hangover for the Niners is different because it's 3 hangovers. The Atlanta choke that Kyle's responsible for.
Yep.
It was 2020.
Yep.
And it's last year.
Yeah.
And I think Kyle's really questioning his place in the world, whether he's ever going to win it, what the fuck's he doing. Like, I think he's burned out. I think he's just chasing something. He's chasing fucking ghosts right now. It's Don Quixote. He's chasing windmills.
And cut right there.
Yeah. Like, I just think mentally he's crashed out.
Yeah.
And you could see it. Like, okay, so McCaffrey clearly can't run between the tackles right now. McCaffrey was talking about the fact he was missing holes.
Yeah.
Unlike Nick. Nick never misses a hole.
Yeah.
But McCaffrey was missing holes.
Yeah.
He had no training camp. We got 2 other running backs that were pretty fucking good when McCaffrey wasn't there. Maybe run Garendo. Maybe put Mason in a little bit, right? Maybe run the ball when you got first down on the 37-yard line with 3.5 minutes left.
I hear you, Paul. You know, it's funny you brought that up. I checked this stat out. Christian McCaffrey played 59 offensive snaps yesterday.
Yeah.
That was the second most snaps he's ever played as a 49er.
It's unbelievable.
He's back 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
He's on tilt, as they say in poker. Shannon's completely on tilt. I didn't know about the crashing out thing. So if I go onto TikTok and I go hashtag crashing out,
I'll
get to see a bunch of videos.
You'll see a bunch of shit.
Yeah. So like, I don't know. I think you're spitting facts and truth here.
Yeah.
And you know, I know we like to joke around, but like the self-help thing, I'm going to watch the games. I'm going to still have hope.
Oh, of course. I think they're going to win this week.
Holy fucking moly.
I think they're going into Green Bay. They're going to win that game. Green Bay. I watched the Green Bay Chicago game yesterday even with the sound off because Tom Brady was the guy who was so relieved that Brady was doing that game and he wasn't going to be doing the Niners game. Yeah. They should have lost to the Bears.
Wait. Speaking of crashing out, you look at Greg Olson, who we love, in his suit, his attempt at wearing a suit. He looked like he was crashed out.
He looked like Chris Farley's like younger, weirder brother. Like he also, by the way, his announcing is totally like devolved into like some weird Tom Brady announcing. I think he's so angry that Brady got his job that he's like to out Brady.
Wait, so you're still in? You're still on watching the Niners?
Of course I'm in, but I'm going to be more relaxed. I think they're going to win this week. Okay. I think they're a desperate team, and they usually have Green Bay's number. We'll see. Okay. The league seems to have figured out Kyle.
Yep.
But I feel like when he goes back and he plays guys, his former assistants like Mike LaFleur, that he tends to beat those guys.
Okay. Well, you know, Paul's still in, I'm still in, because you know why? Because for us, the action is the juice.
Well, you know, for me, the action is the juice. I'm in.
I wanted to get a Heat clip in so bad. God damn it. We're going to Green Bay. We're going to Lambeau. And it doesn't look like it's going to be frozen. It's not too cold.
Right.
It's kind of sunny in the Midwest right now. They're kind of mediocre. Jordan Love is not playing great. They're still winning games, though. They're finding ways to close. Packers are a 1.5-point favorite. I thought it'd be higher. I don't know what the over-under is, but they're a 1.5-point favorite. So, Paul, tell me, what do you think? Give it to me.
I tell you, I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win by a field goal. I don't think they're scoring a lot of points. Defense actually looked pretty good this week till they got tired at the end.
And Bosa went out.
And then Bosa went out. I think it's going to be 23-20 Niners.
God, I love this. Because guess where I'm going this week, Paul?
You're going the other way.
I'm going the other way. I think you just said, I think when Shanahan plays his former coaches, I think they kind of get the best of him a little bit. LaFleur, I can see it. I think, as you said last week, where the Seahawks, we had their number. We've had the Packers number for a while, too.
Yeah.
And I think they finally put that to bed. I think our defense is just thin. And I think what we're hoping for is not on paper. I think we're just reaching and hoping for some pride to come through to carry us across the finish line.
Do you think this team kind of knew? Like, they didn't make a trade deadline. They usually do a trade deadline thing. Like, everyone knew they needed somebody in case Bosa got hurt. They needed another defensive lineman. They didn't do that. So they kind of were packing it in, maybe? I don't know.
That's a great question. I mean, they did that one deal to get that one guy from the nose tackle from the Texans. But
Khalil something or other.
Yeah, maybe they are packing it in. I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled a rabbit out of their hat this weekend. We're all hoping for that. But I think the 49ers actually lose this game, and I'm going to flip it on you. They lose 23-20.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
if they lose this weekend, I think it's free fall.
You free fall, and then they go to Buffalo after that, and then what? It's hello on the outside looking in.
Yeah, when they'd be 5-7 at the end of that, they're done. Suppressing.
That's the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just finish off on a happy note here. And once again, stick around. At the end of this pod, we're going to have a great interview with Nick Mouyiaris. Golden State Warriors.
I look, the Golden State Warriors are going to win this NBA Cup thing, and then they're not going to win the whole thing because you can't win the midseason thing and win the year-end thing.
Oh, well, we're looking good. Like I said, we're recording this Monday. We're 10-2.
Do you know we're in the group of death?
Is that the group of death? There's another group that's pretty...
I just read about this because I was preparing for the podcast.
Oh, we're the group of death, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, the West is stacked.
But it's not just the West. I mean, it just happens to be who they're against. It's Dallas. I mean, I guess it's all West teams.
All West teams.
Do you know the Detroit Pistons are at the top of their division in the NBA Cup?
Have you looked at the East? It's literally the Celtics, the Cavaliers, and 13 teams that are under 500. Or I know I'm exaggerating, but the East is awful.
By the way, how much fun was that Clay-Steph reunion
game?
game?
Fucking fun. It was great. It was like a playoff game.
It was like a playoff game, even more. Like it was beautiful. That was the most fun I've had watching a regular season basketball game in ages.
And you know what? I usually don't. I hate the giveaways at the door, but I wish I had a Clay captain hat.
I can make you one, Matt.
Can you?
Yeah.
So the Warriors are playing the Clippers tonight at the Intuit Center here in Los Angeles. Are we going to the game? Are we going to go?
I think you're going. I know where you want to go. They apparently have more toilets at that arena per capita than any, because Ballmer doesn't want anyone to miss any time. He wants no lines in the toilet. So I want you to go and tell me how the toilets are.
I want to go. I don't know if we're going to go. Beat LA has a couple of benefactors that might get us to the game. So we'll see if we go there. Curry's actually questionable.
Oh.
And, DeAnthony Melton's out indefinitely with an ACL sprain.
Ooh, that's
which
bad.
makes me, I'm a little worried that this team might regress to the mean. Here's something different, Paul. They have an efficiency rating and a defensive efficiency rating. The Warriors are the only team that's top 5 in both.
Wow.
We're playing great on defense. We're playing great on offense. I don't know if this is sustainable. This feels a little...
I think the defense is sustainable because they're playing 12 guys, right?
Yeah.
You talked about this last week, the ability to swarm and basically just have these bursts of fresh legs coming in. They played Memphis, and Memphis also goes 12 deep.
Yeah.
It's actually
bully ball is what they play.
Yeah, they do that too.
And they can adapt. Unlike Kyle, Kerr knows how to adapt to every team. This year it feels like he's coaching. This is a big thing that they've been talking about. You know what's different about the Warriors? We're talking about the players. There's a big article about how Terry Stotts and Jerry Stackhouse are some of the difference makers with our assistant coaches. Kerr looks revitalized. Yeah. In fact, everyone who was involved on that Olympic team looks revitalized. LeBron, AD, Steph Curry, Tatum, Kerr. The Olympics did something to them, and everyone who was involved in that Olympic team looked great, including Anthony Edwards of the Minnesota Timberwolves.
So then you guys are able to pull it together in OT and snap the 3-game losing streak. What did this one mean for you, and how important was it to get this at the end of this road trip?
Super fucking important, man.
And then a little bit of news. I don't know if people saw this. Inside the NBA on TNT, it's moving to ESPN and ABC next year. So we're gonna keep Barkley, Kenny.
I wondered what they were going to do with that.
They licensed it. They licensed the show from TNT.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I guess Jalen Rose probably didn't like that very much, but...
I love you squeezing in a Jalen Rose shout out.
Well, isn't he on the ABC one? They tried to do
that.
No,
he's
on
gone.
the ESPN one? Oh, he's gone?
He got fired in the Big Purge.
Oh, they got rid of everybody at ESPN. That's right.
But I love this because I hope that makes Perk in Richard Jefferson, sayonara. That's a terrible...
Do you know, I sold a pilot with Shaquille O'Neal.
You did.
Yeah,
what was that was called?
It was called Every Day is Tuesday. It was about retired athletes living in suburbia, not knowing what to do with their lives because they're no longer professional athletes.
Gotcha. I love it.
It was funny. Shaquille, he was great, man. Yeah. He was so good in a room. Holy shit.
Yeah, he's great. He's a beautiful man. He should run for president.
He should run for president.
Yeah. Also, Stephen
He would win. For sure. 100%.
Stephen A. Smith could run for president.
I don't think so.
On that note, we're going to cut to our interview with a sports psychologist, or I don't know if he's a sports psychologist, but he's our sports psychologist, BLA therapist, Nick Mouyiaris. All right, BLA heads, we're back. As we said, we have a very special guest today. This is our self-help pod.
We've been talking about Nick and the self-help pod ever since we started the podcast.
We have, and I don't know who it's going to help, whether it's going to be us, him, or any of our listeners. But you've heard us mention him before, and we thought with football season in full swing, nerves in fandom might be on edge. We all have an unhealthy fandom, whether we want to admit it or not. Also, the election season, Paul. The holidays, the silly season is coming up. And we know that can be stressful. So we decided to bring in from New York, one of the best men I know, Beat LA therapist Nick Mouyiaris. Nick, welcome to the pod.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's a special time.
Yeah, it's part of our Beat LA cabinet.
Yeah. Because this pod likes to, not only have celebrities, not that you're not one, and like people from TV, film, and sports, but also a licensed clinical therapist on.
And a celebrity.
And a celebrity.
You guys did Companion together, didn't you?
We did.
We did. At least in my own mind, I'm
Yeah.
a celebrity, but yeah.
Yeah, we did that together. We've partnered on a few things. We wrote together on Trip Tank on Comedy Central.
That's right.
Yeah.
Did theater in London.
Wow.
At some point.
Yes, he did. He was at RADA.
Yeah.
Before I decided to become a psychologist. Yeah, sure.
Amazing.
Don't sell yourself. This is where you oversell yourself. You did remember that FedEx commercial you did that ran forever?
Let me tell you something. That was beautiful. It was 10 hours work.
Yeah.
That was the gift that kept on coming. I think I made $80,000 in a year. It was beautiful. It was like every time I was like, I need money,
And so like any a good actor, good, it reached a point where like, oh my God, what else do I need to do? And you decided to become a therapist.
To be a therapist.
Oh, I was going to say clinical psychology. What was it called?
Well, in California, it's a marriage family therapist, but I was clinical psychology.
But then you checked all that other boxes because after an actor retires, he also became a successful real estate broker as well.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Which I'm doing right now.
It's called a second act.
I like to change it up every 15, 20 years.
Yeah, why not?
So.
Now, I don't think we have a Beat LA real estate analyst. Let's just keep him in the therapist box.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
So, we brought him on because I think a lot of our listeners out there, fandom, Paul, can be toxic. Yes. And
I got a couple stories. I'm going to put where's the couch? I'm going to make Nick move, and I may lie on the couch and talk to you, Nick, about a couple of things I'm not that proud of.
Paul, give me a buck. It's confidential.
Hey,
wait a second.
Cut to the clip.
You're also the cheapest shrink in LA if it's only a buck.
Well, it's a sliding scale.
Okay.
Oh, God, Doc, what is it all about? Help me.
What are you charging? Is it friend rates? Is this going to be friend rates?
This was friend rates. I'll charge you $1,000 for this.
Okay.
But this is just for you guys.
Got it.
Thank you.
I know I can turn into an isolating asshole when my teams lose.
Yeah.
It takes up a lot of my life. With Paul, there is a classic moment amongst our friends when the Warriors lost an NBA title.
My Warriors hat on.
When he blew his fucking lid in a scary way. I'm happy when we lose. When we win, when we lose, it's the end of the world. It's not healthy. What can I and our listeners do to find some balance with this ridiculous sports fandom that makes me feel like a child?
Okay. Before we understand what the balance is, we got to figure out why you're the fan that you are.
Yeah.
Why do fans become fanatics? It's very, very simple.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you're not just so passionate about the team. You identify with the team.
Yeah.
You're connected with the team, not just the team, but the community.
Yeah.
It's like, you're at a game, your team scores, you're high-fiving, you're chest bumping. I mean, it's like you're part of something, right? And that identification starts becoming part of who you are, right? So it's important. That's the value of it. That's how important it is.
Yeah.
So, for instance, you're in another city.
Yeah.
You see someone wearing a Giants hat.
Yeah.
What do you say? Go Giants.
Yeah, what's up? Yeah.
Anywhere. It's like, I know you. You're part of the tribe.
Yeah.
You're part of a group. Like, it's by nature, we're tribal, right?
Yeah,
We're
sure.
Neanderthals, and that's what we do. So we gravitate to people like us. And we're seeing that in the politics today.
Yeah, we're pack animals, basically.
Yeah, but it's
right?
also...
that's how humans survived. So you look for common ground and common,
But it feels like we're flying that flag for our teams. It's like we root for the uniform. It's not like just... I'm rooting for the San Francisco Giants, but it's like San Francisco. That is my flag.
That's the thing. It's like, and there's similarities with nationality. Like, I'm British, I'm American.
Yeah.
With gender, with ethnicity. It's like you're part of something. It becomes incredible value,
You broke yourself from fandom. Is that right? Is that what Matt told me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why did you do that, and how did you do that?
Yeah. So I'm gonna out myself. My touchstone for sports is, I'm going to name some names, Patrick Ewing, Anthony Mason, John Starks. Like that's the last time I was invested in teams sports.
Late 90s Knicks.
Late 90s Knicks.
Yeah.
Or
the Pat Riley Knicks who basically didn't score, just beat the shit out of people and almost won. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Or Lenny Dykstra.
Oh, there you go.
Doc Gooden. I mean, it's like that's when I was in it. I was there.
Yeah.
For me, and we're going to get into that about finding that balance.
Yeah.
I was on a fucking roller coaster. If you were a Knick fan in the 90s, the Pacers had their fucking number. I mean, it's just like
all the Reggie Smith, Reggie
Patrick
Miller
Ewing
stuff.
going up,
Yeah.
trying to. I was like, that is gut wrenching. It's for lack of a better word, it's bipolar. Like your emotions are going up and down, and up and down with the success of your team.
Mm-hmm.
Paul, it almost killed me. It was too much. Wow. I'm like, I can't fucking do this. So I backed off. I stopped watching sports, stopped following. I mean, I would look at the box scores, you know.
Yeah.
But when you win, it's like, not only did they win, but you win. I mean, that's the thing. That's the identification. Like when they lose, you feel like a loser because it does affect your self-esteem because you're identifying with them so much. But when you win, it's everything.
But Nick, those wins.
Dopamine, that's right.
Those wins are those intermittent rewards. Yes, I've been to therapy, okay? And so those intermittent rewards weren't enough for you to keep you going because as I know you gave up that fandom to live a healthier life, and now you just follow World Cup every 4 years. And occasional tennis, obviously the tennis, but like you've given up team sports outside of the World Cup. This is my question to you. Are you happier or do you miss it?
Well, okay. World Cup, I follow. I mean, I was born in England. I mean, I grew up in the States.
England's, I know you do have a little like tinge of this accenty thing happening.
It kind of sneaks in. If I'm talking to my boys in Queens, I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" You know. If I talk to my mom, "Hello, mummy, can I have a bagel?" You know, it comes.
If you're hitting on a woman, what comes out?
English for sure.
So, are you the Lions? What are they called? The
Three Lions, baby.
No, the English national team.
Oh, the Lions, the Three Lions.
Three Lions. Yeah. So is that
I mean,
your team?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's painful too.
You know, we're not the Chicago Cubs, fucking 100 years, but 69 was the last time we won a World Cup, a major national sports, powerhouse, right? Am I happier? Every 4 years, it is heartbreak all over again. And it's because I'm not watching sports or really following sports for 4 years, it all comes down to the World Cup and how the team does.
It's actually worse, maybe.
It actually feels worse because at least you guys have a release valve, you know.
But they also play like the Euro Cup, and they just lost in the finals of the Euro Cup, right? So do you follow that?
Yeah,
I do.
Okay,
but the World Cup is the World Cup.
Okay,
right? It's on the national stage. It means everything, you know. But I have a reprieve. Those 4 years, I'm not watching sports. So, but
what do you do with all that time? Like if I didn't follow sports, I'd get so much shit done.
It's a great question.
Yeah. It's like if I didn't drink and watch sports, I could basically build a rocket ship to the moon that cures cancer.
Yeah. Very good point. Is there some cross addictions? Like where's that energy going to in the last 20 years?
A lot of masturbation, Paul.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, work, kids. I
hope you use your opposite hand. I played pickleball left-handed yesterday, Matt, because I'm hurt. But I read that if you use your non-dominant hand for things, it's good for your brain.
Yeah.
So
it is true. But
if you're going to do a lot of masturbation, I hope you're using your non-dominant hand.
Well, also there's an over type thing rather than an under. You know, so it's that.
Wow, you're not a missionary guy.
You want to go there?
If you use your left hand, your non-dominant hand, it's like someone else is doing it for you, so that feels like another person.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not cheating.
What was the question?
The question is what he does with all his free time when he's not masturbating.
You know what? A wife, 2 kids, work. You know, it takes up time. I prioritize, and this is part of the healthy. What hopefully we'll get into is how are we gonna make it a little bit more healthy? How are we gonna make it more balanced? And that's like prioritizing other things over sports. So for me, it was self-preservation. So I had no other choice. So prioritizing family or friends or, things like that.
Yeah, I don't do that well. So like, other than the famous Warriors meltdown where I broke the remote and I was hosting a party and basically people got totally freaked out. When the Giants blew the World Series in 2002 when they're up 5-0 in Game 6, I was home by myself. I was so worried they were going to choke. Yeah. And I lost my mind, like literally lost my mind. I thought I was never going to recover from it. And you know how I recovered from it? When they won the World Series in 2010. So the only way I recovered was for them to win. If they'd never won that World Series, I'm not sure mentally I ever would have been normal again.
Okay.
So you suffered for 8 years.
I suffered for 8 years. I thought about it all the time. It was totally unhealthy and unnatural.
Okay, so if you're a Chicago Cubs fan, they haven't lost.
They haven't won a World Series.
100 years?
Oh, they just won it. They won it in 2016.
But before that, won 100 years.
Yeah.
Like a
So
Cleveland,
when you're a fan of that, where do you find the happiness? Where do you
Strip
find
clubs?
Strip clubs?
Yeah.
This is true. Prostitution.
Yeah.
You find it in that thing again. Community. Going to Wrigley Field. Seeing people who of like the community, the social aspect. You have to rely on that because your fucking team is shit. Right?
And then you bond over the shared suffering.
Yes,
right?
That's right.
Yes, the
That's
lovable
correct.
losers community.
That's
Yes,
correct.
yeah.
And there's a badge of honor.
Right.
You know, the Curse of the Bambino or
Right.
Philly or, you know, it's like.
I find when we lose now, like there's a sense of apathy that comes over me where I can recognize like, okay, this isn't healthy. I can feel myself ramping up the anger.
Yeah.
I'm going to just kind of go to a place like, I don't care. I don't give a shit. It's not even worth it. And I like to transfer that into my own life sometimes. Within there's situations that happen in my own life that have as much meaning as my sports team's losing, which sounds ridiculous.
Well, there's definitely transference going on, like because when that Warrior thing happened, when I lost my mind, it was the year they lost to Cleveland, right?
Yeah.
So they'd won the year before, right? So it wasn't like they hadn't won the NBA title in my lifetime, and the Giants had just gotten off of winning 3 out of 5.
Right.
You'd think I would have been in a good place, but when I look back on it, I was in a terrible place, like personally, mentally, emotionally, in a relationship that was starting to splinter, things like that, and I just took it all out on that remote.
Right. So that actually does feel healthy.
But you take it out on something inanimate as opposed to a person,
guess that's
right?
interesting.
You know? Because it is a good outlet. Like I do feel like there's a lot of stress in our lives, and sometimes we can watch these games and these teams and be a fan and let some of that aggression go in a healthier way than onto your kids and your wives, your significant others. So Nick and I, one of the projects that we've worked on was this short film pilot that I directed. Nick and I wrote it together. He produced. It's called Companion, which is now a feature we're trying to get off the ground, but it's loosely based off of Nick being a sober companion for celebrities, which ostensibly are these glorified babysitters for the sort of the wealthy, the infamous that are having drug and alcohol problems. And Nick did this for like 10 years, which was fucking fascinating. Him on the road with a who's who, from like congressmen to musicians to actors, babysitting them. It was, where can we go here? Like Companion was based on, can we say who that was based on? No.
So I will say that Companion was based on a very well-known heavyweight boxer who may or may not have a tattoo on his face.
Got it.
Yeah.
Without not naming any names.
Yeah, any names. But also, you like watch like musicians, your favorite musicians. Yeah.
Well, musicians and politicians' kids and actors' kids and actors.
Yeah.
But I mean, with this particular person, I was with him for six months. Like there was a team. I'll call him Team Mike, and there was 3 of us rotating in, and someone was with him 24/7. You know, hey Nick, I want to go to Pinkberry. Like, okay, Mike, let's go. Let's get in the Escalade. Yo, I want to go to Patty's in the Valley. Yeah. I'm horny. I'm like, let's go, let's drive. I'll drop you off. You know, that was the job.
Right. Yeah.
The mind fuck is, you know, I was changed careers. I was trying to find my way. I wasn't a psychologist yet. I was, just figuring stuff out. And I was living in a crappy studio apartment in Koreatown. And then I was getting on a private jet to go on tour with a band.
Yeah. Right.
Flying in at a charter into Tucson or Phoenix, staying in it was like, what? I'm like, what is this life? Walking into the Playboy Mansion with someone X, and I remember this one in particular. We went to a black BET party. Yeah. Black Entertainment Television. It was the who's who of black celebrity at the time. I mean, it was Eddie Murphy and Chris Rock and Martin Lawrence. I mean, everybody. And we walk in. Now, Mike seemed somewhat irrelevant, right? His boxing career was over. He was downhill. It was like everyone wanted to talk to Mike because you forget, like he was an icon from when he was 19 years old. The shit he did and saw was unbelievable. So, Chris Rock comes up. He's like, "Oh, Mike, what's up, man? How you doing?" They're greeting each other, and they're talking. And Chris Rock's looking at me. He's like, "Yo, Mike,
Who's
the fucking white boy, man?
Who's this guy?
Yeah. And what did you go with on this one?
Mike be like, it's okay, he's with me. And that was it, it was great. So I was his trainer at that point, yeah.
Yeah, let's just say like Mike was a sweetheart, absolute fucking sweetheart.
The man had fists like hams, right? You look at him, he's like, and he'd lost a step, right? He still got it. I mean, if he wanted to, he'd knock your head off. But he was a sweetheart. Yeah. He was a sweetheart.
Absolute sweetheart.
Yeah.
And by the way, I just want to say, Paul, I glanced over at the man behind our podcast, Nick Conrad.
Yeah.
I've never seen him so like listening on the edge of his seat to a guest tell a story before, and that was great.
One more story.
You want one more story? Yeah. We can always cut it, but give us one more story.
We always cut it. That makes you feel good, doesn't it? Yeah.
So out with Mike all day, the gym, a meeting, Pinkberry, lunch. It's like that was what we did, So we come back. He had his own bungalow. I go up to the main house, and I'm just shit talking with a couple of the staff, and I got a call. He's like, "Yo, Nick, I want to go back out." I'm like,
because they're at the rehab. They're in the rehab center. Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, well, what do you want to do? He's like, I want to go to Patty's. Patty, his girlfriend.
Oh, okay.
In the valley. Patty's. Listen to me, Paul. It's Patty's.
I'm like, what's Patty's in the valley? I thought it was like a Jewish deli or something.
It's that. And he, I was like, let me check the log. Let me just see if we got a pass. I was like, Mike, I can't take you, man. He's like, I want to go to Patty's. I'm like, Mike, I can't take you. And he's like, fuck you. And he hangs up. I'm like, what? I got really indignant.
Are you scared though? Are you also scared he's angry at you?
I'd been with him for a few months.
Yeah.
So we were cool.
Right.
But I was also terrified, but I'm also like,
okay.
Relationship's
there.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
I called him back. I'm like, Mike, what the fuck, man? You can't. Okay, if I take you out and we're not supposed to go, I'm the one that gets get fired. You're fine. I was like, don't do that to me. And he's like, I'm sorry, Nick. I just want to get some pussy. I'm like, I know you do, man.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we're going to get that pussy.
See, look, delayed gratification.
Yeah, exactly.
It's amazing.
You know what's funny is like that actually happened to me and Paul once. I'm not going to tell you who was who in that scenario. Before we get you out of here, do you have any other questions here?
So I do have a question. I want to give our listeners something to take away with this as like a mantra or a way to kind of to deal with like their nuttiness if they're getting too upset about their teams losing. Our Niners this year are frustrating. I'm on a couple of text chains with some lunatics. Like, what do we tell these people? What are they when they get off this podcast? I want them to be like, okay, they're watching the game this weekend. They want to fucking break the TV.
Yeah.
Like a Dallas Cowboy fan.
Yeah.
Or they want to hit their fucking wife or something.
Yeah.
What do they do?
This is
not me.
This is the
I'm
rub.
very docile now.
No,
by the way. I actually am. I don't care anymore.
This is the rub.
Really.
You can do certain things like prioritize other things, schedule when you're going to see them, right? I'm only going to watch it for 2 hours on Saturday. Let's be honest. We're not going to fucking do that. You're going to watch whatever you want to watch when you want to watch it. You're being flooded with information anyway that's making you want to see more. Your social is blowing up. You've got to really dig down emotionally and say, the way I feel right now, whether it's fucking shitty or incredible, let's take shitty. Is it worth it? Is the way I feel right now worth it? I can still follow my team, but can I be somewhat neutral? It's like you have to look at that. You have to look at and be honest with yourself about the impact that that's having on you and your life and the people around you. Like you said, your relationship was falling apart. Your friends were, it's like that's when it becomes a pathology, and that's what we call healthy boundaries, right? So healthy boundaries with yourself and other people.
Goose fraba. Is there? I'm just trying to come up with a mantra.
What the fuck?
Oh, you want a mantra?
Yeah. I don't know. That's from a movie, right? Yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
Goose fraba. How do you feel? Better.
Okay, I'll give you one. I am not my team.
I am not my team.
I am not.
Let's all say it together.
Team.
1, 2, 3. I am not my team.
I feel great. Better already.
Hey, Nick, before I get you out of here, I just want to ask you one question. I haven't asked him this question, and this is not a setup for you.
Okay.
What's the best TV show you've watched this year?
my memory's so shot. I'm going to say, because it's the one I'm watching, The Penguin.
Oh, God. But before
Thank
Penguin.
you. He was teeing you up to say industry.
Oh,
God,
industry.
of course. It's a given, right?
It is. Industry was out of control.
I didn't like the first season and I stopped.
Yeah,
But
I don't know how we're
You're a
still...
quitter, Paul. We don't like.
I am a quitter.
This comes to fandom right here. Nick, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Long overdue, man. Great to see you.
All right, we're back, and Nick Mouyiaris, he's one of my best friends, great guy. He can't be my therapist because that's a conflict of interest.
Right.
But really a fucking great man. And also, he's kind of put that away. So if you're emailing the podcast right now, like, how do I see Nick? Nick's moved on to, like, real estate and stuff like that. But what'd you think?
It's great. I was particularly fascinated by his accent.
Yes.
But I thought it was great. I mean, I know Nick a little bit through Companion and that stuff, but I thought it was great. It made me feel better, even though we recorded it last week.
Sure. And also he's a man of many faces. I love how you brought up his accent.
Yeah.
He knows who he needs to be when he needs to be that person.
Right. I understand. That's why I remember Kevin Spacey. I heard when he was on American Beauty, Kevin Spacey, the movie star, was a heterosexual leading man.
Yeah.
Kevin Spacey, the man, was a chicken hawk.
Right.
So I'm not saying Nick is a chicken hawk.
No.
But I'm saying that sometimes you can be more than one thing.
That's true. That's what you're trying to say.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I don't know Nick, he just called you the Kevin Spacey of sports therapists there.
Well,
yeah.
Honey, don't be weird.
All right, honey, I won't be weird.
Okay.
I'll be whatever you want me to be.
Well, okay.
All right, folks, this is the Beat LA podcast. We are brought to you by Pet Pro Supply Co. They are still sponsoring us. They are still around. Thank you, Pet Pro Supply Co. for doing that. If you need anything for your dogs, cats, iguanas, that's a new one.
Yeah.
Alligators in the bathtubs.
I thought you were going to say guano.
Guano.
You could get guano. Guano is really good for growing stuff. Guano is bat dung.
Yeah.
And it's apparently excellent for like growing your like fruits and vegetables.
I love that. If you can you might be able to get guano at Pet Pro Supply Co.
Yeah.
Domesticated squirrels as well. Anyway, go to Pet Pro Supply Co. for all your needs. They're a great sponsor for the show, which brings us to pet peeves this week. Paul, I got one. You got one. What are you feeling? Anything you're peevy or pleasuring about?
Yeah, so I got a pet peeve. It's actually interesting. So during the break, I just went out and got a cup of coffee, right?
Yeah.
And they were playing Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So my pet peeves, Matt, are fucking earworms. I'm not going to be able to get that song out of my head for the rest of the day now. And not just that song. So like you hear this it was like the song of the summer, the Chapel Roan song, Hot to Go.
Sure.
H-O-T. Nick knows his stuff. He's more of a Gen Z guy.
Yeah.
So that fucking song, H-O-T-T-O-G-O.
What about that song, Tommy Richmond song? You know that one that took over TikTok? That song's in my head all the time.
Fucking earworm. Yeah. See, there's a difference between a catchy tune and an earworm that basically is like Total Recall, like someone's taken over your brain. It also got me thinking, Matt, I want to get the audience involved in this. What are the worst 10 songs of all time? I'm going to give you 3.
Let's go top 5.
And
crazy.
The audience can fill it in from there. So 3 that come to mind. We Built This City on Rock and Roll. Okay. Yeah. No Rain by Blind Melon.
Okay, it's a good one.
Most fucking annoying song ever.
Yep.
And then What's Going On by Four Non Blondes. Those are probably my 3 least favorite songs of all time.
You know, I haven't thought about this. You sprung this on me.
Okay.
Can I throw an Ace of Base? I Saw the Signs.
That's a good one. Yeah. That's a good one.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll fucking make you
That'll fuck you up all day.
Basically blow your own brains out just to stop listening.
And you know when you hear these songs, if, you know, the death of the fucking shopping mall, but when you're Christmas shopping, that's when those earworm songs. Also, it's Mariah Carey season, so get ready, folks. Yeah.
Love Actually.
Yeah. I have 2 quick ones, real quick. I went to see a movie last night, and I'm going to talk about it later in this segment. A woman brought her little pooch into the theater.
Is that allowed?
She's at fucking the Grove it was for this thing.
Huh.
And she sat with her dog, and her dog yipped a couple times.
What was the movie?
So I'm going to save it for best things.
Okay.
But the dog yipping in this fucking movie, this is, I'm just going to say this. This is why people hate the left.
Wait, what?
This is why, a dog yipping, this is what I was thinking. The dog yipping in the movie theater, and I love dogs, made me go, this is why people hate progressives.
This person could have been a Republican.
I don't know. You're exactly right. But it just made me go, this is what turns people into Republicans and conservatives. Because they're like, this fucking dog's here. The fucking society's going to shit.
Right.
You know,
Jake Paul and then this.
Then this. So dogs, please just don't bring your dogs to the fucking movie theater.
I couldn't agree more with this, by the way,
or
Matt.
in public. Like, it's just like, I don't know. It just really upsets me.
So dogs are not supposed to actually be inside restaurants or inside grocery stores. It's actually illegal because there's a cleanliness, like health code thing. Yeah. But everybody fucking does it and everybody lets them do it. I agree with you on this one, Matt.
Yeah. I just got a text. We just lost our sponsor, Petro Supply Co. So anyway, good for us. I'm going to introduce a new segment into this podcast.
You can buy a muzzle probably at Pet Pro Supply Co.
Probably
to take your dog into the movie theater with.
That's true. That's very true.
They won't,
We have a new segment here, and we need sponsorship for this new segment. It's called Odd Facts with Paul Rule. Paul, you said something yesterday, and I forgot, and it made me think of this. It inspired this segment. What did you say to me yesterday?
So we were watching the halftime during the halftime of the Niner game. We switched over to watch the Chiefs and the Bills, and Tony Romo, my least favorite announcer, other than Tom Brady, and Jim Nantz, who I quite like and has been with us for a long time, were doing the thing. And I said to you, hey Matt, did you know that Jim Nantz and Fred Couples, the golfer, Masters winner, were college roommates at Baylor? And you did not know that.
I did not know that. So that's fascinating.
Yeah, Jim Nantz. And that's why Fred Couples was his assistant for years in the Final Four. He would basically sit behind, he got free tickets to the Final Four. He'd sit behind Jim Nantz and get him water and whiskey or whatever.
Jim Nantz, Freddie Couples, college roommates at Baylor. Yeah. That's Odd Facts, brought to you by unnamed sponsor on the BLA podcast. All right, Paul, best things we saw. I kind of teased this 4 seconds ago. I went to see the Hugh Grant A24 horror thriller Heretic last night.
So my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, Bobby McCart and Lauren Ofria McCart, they saw it and loved it. Did you like it?
I liked it.
Okay.
Didn't love it, but I thought it was a really good film. It's a very low-budget film. There's only like 2 locations, really. Very simple. The dialogue carries the day. It's not really about like surprises, horror, slasher, gore. I thought it was a really well written. I enjoyed the film a lot. I wish I had a better review here, filled with letterbox.
What's it about
zingers.
Without giving it away?
It's about 2 young girls that are sisters, like Book of Mormon. They're Mormons, and they're going around to homes trying to convert, bring people to the church.
Oh.
And they go to this one door, and Hugh Grant answers, and he invites them in because he's got a whole take on religion. And through him bringing them in their house, they can't get out.
This sounds great. I like it.
Until there's a series of games, and it speaks to your belief systems as well as what he believed. Huh. So it's a quick 90 minutes.
Okay, great.
Heretic.
I'll check it out for sure. I like Hugh Grant. He's actually had an interesting evolution as he's gotten older and kind of weirder looking and stuff.
Like he's a bit of a curmudgeon too, which I love. His Proustian questionnaire for Vanity Fair is hilarious.
There's a big difference between Proust and Faust, but sure. Okay, I'll check that out.
Yeah.
I didn't watch anything this week, Matt. I finished watching Palm Royale in anticipation of flying to Palm Beach on Wednesday.
Got it.
And I liked it. It's getting a second season. I thought the final episode was pretty fun.
Yeah.
It's worth a spin.
Gotcha.
It's better than all of the crappy Bill Lawrence shows that are on Apple. Like, don't watch like Shrinking and Bad Monkey and Ted Lasso anymore. Just watch this.
I like Shrinking. There's a soft spot in my heart for Shrinking.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it's on theme with our episode.
And this one's for Ben, your buddy Ben. I fell onto Day of the Jackal on Peacock.
So I've heard good things. Kristen has a unnatural interest in Eddie Redmayne.
Eddie Redmayne's in this.
I guess he's the new Ace Ventura for her.
It's fascinating the show, Paul, because it's a network show on Peacock, so they get away with things. It's very glossy. It's too networky. There's not a lot of edge to it, but we all love our European assassins.
Sure.
And it's held me for 2 episodes.
Okay. Is it better or worse than that Fincher movie about the assassin?
Fincher movie's better.
Okay. I was planning to check it out. I read a good review.
Paul, I know you're playing injured, and I really
I got to go I got to take an ice bath.
Well, let me quickly shout out you for playing hurt today. You brought it. You brought a triple double.
Trying.
Thanks for playing playoffs, folks. We're gonna take a couple weeks off on the BLA podcast. We got
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Have got Thanksgiving coming up. We're going to take a break. We've played 5 weeks in a row here.
Unbelievable, right? No wonder I got injured.
You know, seeing you at least once a week for 5 straight weeks has been
It's
been a
nice.
lot.
I know. It's been a lot. What do you mean to say?
No
I
kidding.
understand.
Hey, shout out. Just want to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone, and thank you for listening to us for over a year. I appreciate you, Paul, and all you do. Our blood, sweat, and tears that we put into this thing has been great. So shout out to you, amigo.
Thank you, my man.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
I'm grateful for you, and I'm grateful for Nick,
Yes.
and all sorts of things. But yes, it'd be good to have a week off. You know, I can kind of get fat with impunity, and then try to lose weight before I have to go back on camera again in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then it'll be a little inconsistent the rest of the year. We're going to do our year-end wrap-up like we did last year.
Yeah.
Our top 10 lists and all that kind of fun stuff.
I don't know if you know this. There's going to be giveaways.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
To what? What are you going to give me?
We're going to give our fans stuff.
Oh, great.
For that one.
It's about fucking time.
Yeah, so shout out to everybody, and I hope your neck gets better. You know who you should go see? You should go see Internet Doctor Aaron White.
I should go to Germany and have a stem cell injection.
Right into the fucking neck.
Yeah, exactly. Into the fucking neck. Yeah. Anyways, we'll get through it. All right. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Matt,
Yeah.
To you and yours.
Hey, there you go. And beat LA.
Beat LA.